Girls from 5 to 16 years are vulnerable to issues of sexual violence and child marriages. The current spate of insecurity has made things even worse. Now, to discuss the issues affecting the girl child, we have in the studio Aisha Hamman, a lawyer and founder of Lift Africa. You're welcome to the studio. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. It's
All
nice
right,
to have you.
yeah. All right, so quick question, Aisha. Now, due to poor background, many embrace street hawking to support their families. And in doing so, the girl child becomes vulnerable to assault and also violence. Now, this practice is still prevalent in the 21st century. We all know that. Yet, every year we observe the International Day for the Girl Child. What is responsible for this failure?
Well, if you look at it, I would attribute that to the northern part of Nigeria because it's more prevalent in northern Nigeria. I think it has to do with a lot of vulnerability on the part of the parents, a lack of awareness on the part of the communities, and on our own part as well. We're not doing a lot. The government, we have laws in place. We have laws like the Child's Right Act that is against child labor. We have a lot of we have a lot of laws in place to protect the child, but none of this is implemented properly. And we need to do more as people, as government, as private sector, and as non-governmental organizations to ensure that these laws are practiced. So even at that, we also need to create awareness on the part of the people in the society to ensure that these children are not subjected to these forms of abuses, because that's child abuse, if you ask me.
Okay. Now, the theme for this year's International Day of the Girl Child is Digital Generation, Our Generation. What do you think this theme aims to address?
Okay, the theme, every year has a theme, and we know that the International Day of the Girl Child was specifically set out to address the issues of lack of education, gender parity, among other things. This year's theme is specifically to bridge the gap, the gender gap, when it comes to girls' access to digital learning, digital using and owning devices. Because if you look at the United Nations report, about 2.2 billion people, even in the post-COVID era, about 2.2, where businesses, if you look at businesses, education, and even some parts of healthcare has moved to the internet because of the COVID. About 2.2 billion people still do not have access to internet at homes. And Nigeria being the poverty capital of the world, we have about 94 million people that are living below $2 a day. And if you look at that numbers, even though the girl child or the women or the female population is just a little under 49% of the whole population, we have about 70% of these people that constitutes the number of people living below the average, living below $2 a day. So this has affected the gender gap, bridging the gender gap. Because girls do not have access to internet, girls do not have access to devices. Even when you are aware that during the COVID, some state governors have put in place emergency plans to allow access to education, girls still do not have access to education. And I think the reason why this year's theme is to address the gender gap is because of the lack of access of girls to the use of internet and devices.
Okay. How would you describe the status of gender parity in Nigeria?
Okay. You know, the International Day of the Girl Child has more or less removed girls under the umbrella of women. So we're going to focus on girls. We have about 13.2 million out-of-school children, and girls constitute about 60% of the numbers. So this tells you that we need to do a lot of work to address this. I, for one, go to the grassroots communities. We have seen girls, I have seen first-hand cases of girls being taken out of school to be married off. And when you talk about sexual and gender-based violence, it's not just about being physically abused or assaulted. It has a lot to do with child marriage. It has a lot to do with lack of education. It has a lot to do with child labor. You see a lot of girl child, even in northern Nigeria, being taken to people's houses to go work as maids. This has affected our productivity. We know that women are supposed to be the backbone of every family and the bedrock of the nation. But the case is different in Nigeria because we have been, since time immemorial, we've seen the likes of Queen Amina, people that have come out to fight for the nation or for the community. But like we have more or less been stereotyped to just be reduced to nothing but objects, to be reduced to nothing but being women, being housewives and mothers. I would give you a flashback of what happened, I think 2 years ago when the president came out and his wife was trying to talk about politics or somewhere thereabout. And he came out and said he does not know where the political party that his wife belongs, but he knows she belongs to the kitchen, the living room, and the other room. Forgive my use of French, but you can see that even in the civilized communities, we have reduced the status of women to just being mothers and wives, and forgetting that if you invest in a woman, it is going to boost the GDP of every nation, not just Nigeria. So I think we're still lagging behind, even though the World Economic Forum has, in its latest report, has said that women participation in a lot of things has significantly improved, but we still need to do more in Nigeria because even looking at the political participation, both in elective and appointed positions, women are still lagging behind. I think we have about just 6.9 participation in political, in politics, both in elective and appointed positions. We have just 6 ministers in the present cabinet, which is very poor, which is very low. So we need to do a lot.
Okay. Now, let's take a look at the forced marriages. You know, they've actually disappeared after sustained sensitization, but girl-child marriages are still obtainable in some rural communities. Now, what can be done to change the narrative?
Okay. I think, first off, we need laws. We need laws. I know about the FAB Act. It's there, and it talks about early marriage. We need to push for implementation of these laws first. Secondly, we need to again create awareness on the part of the communities and the parents to ensure that they do not subject these children to early marriages. I have seen cases, I think Zainab is aware, I have seen a case of a girl that has she has very good results. She got very good results, but because the norm in the society is that she has to get married at the age of 16, she cannot further her education. So this tells you that not just, and this is not even in rural communities, these things are still happening, even in urban communities, because that one happened in Jigawa State, not in a village. It was in Jigawa, in a town in Jigawa State. So it goes a lot to tell you that we need to create more awareness on the importance of not putting pressure on women, on girls, on young girls to get married, because it's not the ultimate. The more you grow, the more you invest in yourself, the more you empower yourself as a woman, the more you improve yourself, the more chances of getting a better husband. We need to make them understand that women or girls are not just a return of investment, because take it or leave it, more or less, that's what they think. You give birth to a girl, she grows up, you train her to be a wife and a mother, so her husband can take care of the family and can take care of the girl. They don't invest, no skills, no jobs, nothing, no education. Right. So we need to create a lot of awareness to ensure that these things do not happen anymore. Okay. But it's going to be a very long and tedious process, I believe.
Right. Okay. Now, according to President Buhari, the 2022 budget is the first in Nigeria's history where MDAs were clearly advised on gender-responsive budgeting. Do you think this is going to be like a game changer?
It will, if the necessary steps are taken, because women contribute to the economic growth of every nation. And I think if the MDAs and every organization will ensure that there's proper remuneration, there's proper implementation, there's proper awareness, or creating awareness on SGBV issues. When you're being abused at the workplace, you can come out and speak. If that is ensured, I think there's going to be a lot of difference. That will make a difference, and hopefully, I hope it works. I hope it is taken into consideration.
Okay. Now, we all know that, violence against women and girls, but we'll focus on girls, spikes during crisis or, insecurity, such as what we see in Nigeria. What can actually be done to prevent such violence and support the girls?
Well, okay. First off, education. The more you're educated, the less likely for you to be assaulted, taken advantage of, and abused. Secondly, we need to empower women, not just educate them. We need to empower them to understand that they can be anything, they can do anything, they can achieve anything. Another thing we can do is to create avenues where, when you're abused or when you're violated, you can come and speak up. Because if you look at northern Nigeria, we always talk about these things, but when these people are abused, when they're subjected to these forms of abuse, they hardly comment and speak because of the fear of stigmatization. We need to make them understand that it is not just a physical damage that is done to the child. There's also mental damage. The issue of mental health has been springing up nowadays, and we're realizing that as much as we know that in rural communities, the issue of mental health is not even taken seriously. They attribute it to spiritual attack or whatnot. So these things, we need to make them understand that they need to speak up, because it doesn't just do damage to their physical bodies. It also does damage to their mental health, and it can be a lifetime trauma. So we need to create safe spaces where they can come and talk about the issues, the things that they've experienced. We also need to make them understand that the girl is not, it's not a crime against just one person, it's a crime against the state. So we have to ensure that justice is served, and we also need to push for an avenue where maybe we can resort, because our courts are congested. We need to push for ways that these cases can be treated quickly, because I have a case that I've been handling in Sokoto State. It's been 2 years now. The case was taken to court last year, and it's been almost 2 years now. And I think we got an opening for the defense to come in and bring their case last week. So it goes to tell you that even if the children or the parents decide to speak up or decide to take the issue to court, even the courts are congested. So it's going to be very frustrating, very demanding, and very, very slow for you to get justice. So these are the things we need to ensure that are put in place so people don't get discouraged.
Right. It can be quite challenging being a lawyer and also, impacting the lives of girls. Let's talk about Lift Africa. What has your organization done in the lives of some of these young girls?
Okay. Education is the most powerful tool that can be used to transform lives. First off, our pilot project with Lift Africa since its inception in 2018, we called it From Streets to Classes. That was our first project, and it goes to take children off the streets and back to school. And our focus was on the girl child hawkers. And as at last month of September, we have been able to partner with the Global Partnership for Education, the ministries of education of various states, Kano State, Sokoto State, Jigawa State, Bauchi, and some northeastern states of Nigeria. We've been able to take out of about 3,000. We have about 2,753 children that are under the scholarship. And the last phase that we've done was in Kano State, and that was in September. The last phase of it all, we were able to take about 300 girls out of off the streets and back to school in Kano State. And this was achieved through partnership with the Global Partnership for Education, the USAID, and other Nigerian education plans that we have in place. So apart from that, we also invest in food security, post-harvest. We empower smallholder farmers, and we also train food processors, especially in Kano State, on people that are processing rice. We teach them how to process their rice in an improved way. We empower them with machineries, and we even partnered with the Norwegian Refugee Council. Yes, because they have a focus on food security. So in 2020, October last year, we were able to empower about 240 women on improved rice processing, groundnut oil, maize, and maize flour, and yes, rice. So apart from that, we also create safe spaces. Like we have a sexual assault referral hub.
Oh, wow.
Hotline, rather. We're trying to partner with some organizations to see that we get a hub where people can come when they are abused. So we have a hotline because Kano is the hotspot for SGBV. We know, even though we've seen the effort of the Canadian High Commission partnering with some organizations to create referral centers, but we still need to do more, because every day you go to court, you see more people coming to court being sexually abused.
Right.
So we have done that. We also talk to girls. We've even this week we're going to have a program with one of the secondary schools in Abuja on this to commemorate the International Day of the Girl Child. So these, among other things, are the things we do to empower women and girls.
Okay, before we wrap up the segment, what is your message on this day?
Well, my message is simple. To every young girl watching this, to every young woman watching this, I want them to believe and to know that they are unstoppable. One. Secondly, the more you go to school, the more you develop yourself, your career, the more you improve yourself, the more chances of you becoming better, and the more chances of you having a better husband. Because even if you don't get married, you can always fall back on something. So there's nothing that will stop you as a girl. You need to just believe in yourself, empower yourself. You don't need a man to be seen. I am not trying to be a feminist here, but you don't need a man to be seen, as against the stereotype by the society that whatever you achieve in life, you have to have a man beside you. We're not against marriage, but girls need to understand that with or without a man, you can be anything. That is my message.
Right. Thank you so much for coming on the show. We have been talking the International Day of the Girl Child with Aisha Hamman, a lawyer and founder of Lift Africa. We hope to have you next time on the show.
Thank you.
Thank you.